Hello everyone, right now I'm doing a follow-up to my last ScummVM video, and Nava and myself have updated things considerably since then. You're going to have 4 distinctively different approaches to running your sound sets for the mini classics, and we're talking about default style, which you've all become accustomed to for those of you who have played ScummVM before. And then of course the Pseudo MT-32 style, and NES Chiptune Style, and finally, this is one of my favorites now, we're going to have some games that are actually going to be able to run with a full CD soundtrack. And I do have a background in music theory. I'm going to give you a little bit of a gist of this as I approach this video. I want to exit RetroArch and go into the main music for Auto Blame here, and consider this like default music right now. And when you run default music with ScummVM, you don't really have prominent or resonant drums or percussion. But with the MT-32 style, you can have real drum samples mixed in. It is awesome. Just listen right here how it comes in, like the bridge into the better music. Bam! That is incredible. I mean, that is literally the type of transition that you're going to be seeing in this demonstration today. But yes, I love this introduction here, and whoever did this music for the Auto Blame is awesome. I love this music, and I let it play every once in a while. We're going back into RetroArch, and we're going to do some demonstrations right now. We're going to do the default sets, and of course these are going to run on the NES, SNES, and PlayStation Classic, because I'm not going to abandon previous incarnations of the system. Just like when PS3 had backwards compatibility for PlayStation 1, then they had the slim PS3, they got rid of the backwards compatibility for PlayStation 2, which really got me a little bit frustrated there, because I have a bunch of PlayStation 2 games that I cannot play unless I have a real system, but now I emulate them, luckily. So I have them on real disc and I'm emulating them, just like many people say, as long as you have backups. But we're going to ScummVM right now, and we're going to do Beneath the Steel Sky, and lo and behold, when people were working on... Oh, by the way, this artwork right here is going to be in my release as well. Gerald did a fantastic job with these, and I'm going to have all these so you guys can have them in your mini classics that go with the games. But we're loading up Beneath the Steel Sky, and this game was actually donated, source code-wise, to the ScummVM development team many years ago, and it really is a great thing, a foundation for a great... point-and-click interface game, because many people were really heavily involved in giving up free games and source code to try to benefit this as a whole. And this is one of the games, and this is also going to be in my release. You can go into Extras, ScummVM Games, and this will be on the Google Drive alternative link. But right now we're going to see the default music here. Pretty standard music right now, almost sounds like a harpsichord playing. And I love these type of games because they are much akin to like Dragon's Lair style play, like Don Bluth style, way back 1983. And we have stairs that we can go to. Let's try going to them stairs right now. See what happens. Trial and error. Bam! I apparently went the wrong way, but you can hear the harpsichord style music. And again, when you're running ScummVM, push the start button. Do not try going into RetroArch settings and quitting or loading another game that way. You need to actually be within the ScummVM menu, which is the start menu. And when you're in this menu, you can do like resume, save, load, etc. Do not do return to launcher. Only do resume, load, save, or I said it backwards. I flubbed it, but oh well. But you want to quit from here. And then you'll quit back into RetroArch and you're good to load another game. Again, if you're on the PlayStation Classic specifically and you try to load another game or you try going to launcher, you're going to freeze it up and you might have to reinstall Auto Blame or Blame Sync. And you don't want to do that, trust me. It's just a waste of 10 to 15 minutes of time. So we're going to go back into low content Star Trek and we're going to do 2 more examples right now. And Bailey, one of the people I worked with for the original ScummVM core on the mini classics, he helped out with some of the launcher files, the ScummVM files, from a true database of the actual working set of games. And his favorite game is Carandia 2, Hand of Fate, and this is a phenomenal game, a beautiful game indeed. It really looks like it's a Disney game in essence. We're going to load this up right now and look at a beautiful artwork right there. Again, thanks Jero. And we're going to load the game up right now and we're going to hear the default sound. And again, you want to make sure you exit via the ScummVM menu. Just remember that. And I'm going to do a more advanced tutorial for some of you who want to get into that. But for right now, just tread lightly and try to avoid freezing your system. Just follow the appropriate measures to quit. But you can hear the default music right now. And you're going to notice that the music is not very prominent as far as drums are concerned. I'll start a new game briefly here. And this is a whole new ball game when you hear the updated MT-32 and or NES Chiptune Style music. So the percussion is pretty much on par with like NES games, or even Super Nintendo for that matter. But great game. I'll show you a little bit more of that when I get to it, but again, we need to quit. I wonder if I could push up top and flip to the bottom. That would be nice if I could just go from the top to the bottom and make it a little bit quicker. You can actually go into core options and adjust the sensitivity. I'm trying to fine-tune what sensitivity would actually work as a default standard for most of the games, because I want it to be a little bit faster. We're going to go to Indiana Jones now, and you're going to hear the default for that. I showed that in the last video, but I'm going to do it again real quick. So ScummVM again, Indiana Jones. And I love all the Indiana Jones movies. And beautiful artwork, per normal here. So you're going to hear the default music, and again, there's not going to be a whole lot of resonance. Or you're not going to really notice the drums. They're not as distinguishable as they would be if they were on the MT-32 sound set, which is like essentially like a Roland or Yamaha synthesizer sound set. And those of you who ever play with a synthesizer, you can get some really incredible sound sets from them. See, the drums are... I want to hear some like bass cymbal crashing going on here. It's not quite there. This again is the default sound. So what we're going to actually do now is we're actually going to, I'm going to quit and I'm going to shut down the system. And then I'm going to install the injector for the MT-32. And you're going to hear way better percussion for the games that I just showcased. So we're going to quit RetroArch and shut the system down. Listen to this incredible autoplay music again for a moment. Shut down, and we're going to do this on the fly. So I'm booting up to my PC real quick. And now we're going to go to my core set release once we have the flash drive in there. And I have in the release, it'll be coming out on Tuesday. It'll be 8/20, not 9/2. PlayStation Classic, you're going to have injectors for ScummVM for the default sound, the MT-32, and the NES. And I have them for Blame Sync and Auto Blame. I'm going to copy all three of these to my flash drive. Let's make sure it's in there real quick. So popping a flash drive in, and then we should be able to load the files onto it. Right here. And I'm going to just put them in my main directory here. And you can run them from your hard drive as well, but I just copy the ones I want to most use right here. I'm just going to simply double click the MT-32 one. Again, we cannot run real and true MT-32 because the emulator for it, yes, overwrite everything. The emulator for it, which is Mont, is not supportable on the Mini Classics currently, but it might change in the future. But we have pseudo swap out sound fonts for MT-32 and NES, and you're going to see these in action. Again, I'm going to safely remove the drive here. And there's also going to be a multitude of great things on the Google Drive link for ScummVM as well. And I'm going to come back to the PC in a couple minutes there, but I'm going to boot back up. And again, in the primary release, if you go to Extra ScummVM, you're going to find all the launcher files. I recommend using the unofficial ones, and you're going to be able to run most of the work instead that you could find online or own legitimately. And there might be more updated to the ScummVM core because they actually added support for a great Blade Runner ScummVM game. And I would love to have that running on the minis as well. But it'll take a little bit of time getting that going. So we're going to go back to low content start directory, and we'll do Indiana Jones first because that is the very last one we just loaded. And you're going to hear the MT-32 swap out with the drum set. It is awesome. So here we go. And Nava did a great job in recording 4 samples, which I'm going to include in the release as well, which is going to show the 3 to 4 different distinctive styles for 4 example games, like Discworld, Indiana Jones, Monkey Island 2, and so on. But wait till you hear the cymbal crashing going on here from the get-go. The music is definitely exponentially better than in the prior example. That is awesome. If you have a bass system, crank it up. Well, yes, you can hear this truly has percussion now. And much more robust sound sampling as far as the synthesizer portion is concerned. So I'm definitely thoroughly impressed there. So we're good to go on that. We got default in that, and then we have a third way we could run it, which I'll show you next once I do these examples here. we'll do Beneath the Still Sky and see how that sounds. Because it sounded like a harpsichord before. So we're going to go to Low Content, Start Directory Dummy, and back to the ScummVM folder. And Beneath the Still Sky. And again, you're going to be able to play this. I'm going to include it in my release. I already have it in my prior release, but I'm going to make sure it's absolutely available for you. Because it is a free game, which I can legitimately share with you. It is an awesome game. Again, it plays like a great point-and-click Dragon's Lair style game with its nice trial and error-based gameplay. And I'm going to do a little bit more of the gameplay once I get to the final example for this. Because I got 2 more examples to show you. I first did the default sound. Now I'm doing the MT-32 pseudo swap out sound. So you're going to hear this right now. It's definitely going to be exponentially better than the prior example. Again, with percussion more so. Sounds more orchestral in nature. Orchestral moves and maneuvers in the dark. Remember that band? OMD, some cool music. Oh, I'm going to go to the right here. I'll do a little bit more each time. Let's see if I can go through the door. Like in Gauntlet, use keys to open doors, right?
Well, there isn't a fire.
So I can't go down the stairs and I can't go through the door. So I guess next time I load this up, I'm going to have to see what I do there. But now we're going to go to the MT-32 style sound for Legend of Carandia next. Legend of Carandia 2, should I say. And yes, the injectors, as well as on the NES, SNES Classics, I'm going to have things updated so the Carandia games will be patched to work by default. You don't have to do anything additional. They will work by default once you apply the game in a ScummVM launcher file. Because there are a good 20 to 30 games that need patches or fixes, and I'm going to have them all auto-install for you guys and gals. So again, we're going to Legend of Carandia, and this is going to be the updated with better percussion music here. Beautiful artwork. And this is a series. There are more than one game in the series, so definitely check a few of them out. But this is the best in the series according to Bailey. And if you like this game, definitely check out King's Quest 7 as well, which is an also similarly minded game. And I'll do a little bit more of the gameplay here. Definitely much better music-wise. Way, way cooler. There we got our percussion. We didn't have that before. We had the cymbal crash, and that is awesome. I love the cymbal crash, it never gets old. And yes, it sounds like the auto blame thing amped up. Bridged right into some awesome percussion music.
Why does this always happen to me? None of those other mystics ever do anything by themselves.
Very, very cool game. Definitely one of the best that I played.
I'd better change before I leave.
And we're going to do one more example of this game. It's going to be the NES Chiptune Style.
Much better.
Okay, and we're going to boot up to the PC in a minute to change over to the NES Chiptune Style next. This is awesome. This percussion definitely adds a whole new element to the gameplay, especially with the sound system. And it kind of reminds me of the old Justice League cartoon series where they had the evil ship, the Injustice League, in the bogs. Remember that theme song? Superfront, should I say. The super villains. Injector. But I'm going to quit right now. We'll come back to this. Interesting how that original Superfront show had some characters like Cheetah and the India guy. I forgot what his name was, but he said Injector and he grow disproportionately large, and many of them were like B-list characters at the time, which is kind of interesting. But we're actually going to shut down, and we're going to install the NES Chiptune Style set right now. I have a feeling many of you are going to really be very, very partial to either the NES or the MT-32 style, but we're going to do that right now. Boot back up to the PC. Okay, we're now back on the PC, and we're going to install the injector for the NES Chiptune Style sound. And again, whichever one of these you install last is going to be the one that takes priority and precedence over the one former to it. So if you have the default one, it'll be used, the MT-32 one will be used, and the NES one accordingly. And this is going to be the exact same way for the HMODs you install on the NES and SNES Classic, which will also be in my release. So right now we're doing the NES one. And we're going to override all. Then I'm going to go into the core set release and show you exactly where the launcher files are in which you can utilize to run these games. You would extract the game on the PlayStation Classic to a folder, and I'll give you an example of this in a moment, but I'm going to my extras, ScummVM, in a release. And then you're going to extract the ScummVM launchers. I recommend the unofficial ones because they are working great with the ones I'm running. And say for instance we want to run Carandia. Legend of Carandia 2. I'm going to find Legend of Carandia 2, and I'm running the CD-DOS version. We would need this file right here, and if you're on the NES or SNES Classic, you would add this as a game and make sure it is not compressed, and then you navigate to that CLV folder and copy the rest of the data files. And I'll show you exactly what these look like. And I have it right here. These are all the data files, and you'd have to have these all in the directory, either on the PlayStation Classic or in your CLV folder on the NES or SNES Classics. Then you'd have the launcher file, which you copy over, or you add if you're on the NES or SNES Classic with Hackshi2CE. And this is exactly what you're going to be using to load the game. It is essentially a Q file, which is going to point to the game, which is in the database, as a Carandia or whatever it would be. In this case, it would be Kira 2, is what it's considered by default name. But that's all good, and I have all the games, all with launchers in each of these. I have the launcher here for Beneath the Still Sky, and I also have the artwork. If you have the exact named artwork as you do the game, it's going to show right next in the lineage of display, and it'll showcase in the load content area, no matter what system you're on, NES, SNES, or PlayStation Classic. But we're going to shut down, and we're going to boot back up for the NES Chiptune Style right now. So booting back up. Again, if any of you ever have any issues, you could ask me, and myself or the cat may help you out. Nava and Bailey could be an assistance as well. But now we're going to do Legend of Carandia, which I think has the best NES chiptune style music, period, without a doubt. So low content start directory dummy. And we're doing the Legend of Carandia 2. Look at that beautiful artwork one more time. And speaking of Dragons there, I'm going to give you a little bit of background in Dragons there as well. I mean, at the time, many people were playing stuff like Galaga, Pac-Man, and all that. And then all of a sudden, Don Bluth came out with this amazing animation-style game, which is absolute genius. And I'm going to give you an example of this after I do a couple of these test examples here. Here we got NES-style sound here. And yes, you got percussion, too. Sounds pretty awesome. NES complete with the percussion. Remember the percussion on the original Mega Man? How cool that was sounding? Almost like earlier dubstep music.
I'd better change before I leave.
I'm really absolutely digging this NES style music here.
Much better.
And there is a fourth style of music you can enjoy as well. I'm going to show you that too. This is so cool with NES style here. There's the Justice League villain ship again in the bog. Oh, let's try going this way. My first experience with point-and-click games, I'd have to say, would actually be Maniac Mansion on the NES, which I beat a multitude of times. I got several different endings. And no, you cannot put the hamster in the microwave. They censored that for the NES version, but in the ScummVM and PC versions, you could do that if you really want to be dastardly.
I thought it was right about here.
And then, of course, I played Shadowgate, and I wanted to play Shadowgate so bad. I had a friend at school, and I would ask him to borrow the game over and over again. He would never let me borrow it. He keeps saying not yet. But then we were playing Dodgeball, you know, kind of like the Dodgeball movie in school, and I got hit right in the head really hard, and I was definitely conked out, basically almost knocked out unconscious. He came out to me and says, "Hey, remember Shadowgate, that game that you want to borrow from me?" He's like, "You can borrow it." That cheered me up instantly. It didn't even feel like I get hit bad at Dodgeball at all. But now we're going to do Indiana Jones. But yes, Shadowgate was awesome. I was in heaven for that entire weekend. And when I got stuck, I called the 1-800 Nintendo tip line for a few parts because that game is definitely not clear and present as far as some of the puzzles are concerned. So we're now doing Indiana Jones. And we're going to load the NES Chiptune Style here. We need to hear Indiana Jones in chiptune style. And some of these LucasArts games were also made by JVC. And if you go on Nintendo, like the Star Wars game, you'd have two distinctively different Star Wars games on NES. They're not the same. They would say JVC or LucasArts, and they're completely different games. NES style here. That's awesome. Very cool. Now we're going to try out Beneath the Still Sky real quick with the NES style. And for the last style that we're going to showcase, I don't need to shut down and install anything. It's already set up, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. So Beneath the Still Sky. And this is very interesting because you have all these different ways you can run these games. And the last time I had this type of fun, as far as experience in this, was with the Monster Rancher game on PlayStation 1, where you were able to actually pop in a real music CD and have a monster basically created on the basis of the disc. And I remember putting Metallica Black Album in there and getting this black monolith, this badass monolith. But I did it for like probably every single CD in my collection, and it was awesome at the time. We need to be able to do that on the minis, but it might be possible because there is CD-ROM support in some of the chords that I've added recently that some of the people in Libretto added. This is awesome. Very, very cool. The harpsichord or the orchestral music is replaced by 8-bit chiptune style, and the 8-bit did a tremendous job on these samples. Awesome stuff here. Let's try going down the stairs again. Loving this. This sounds like Metroid, either Mother Brain Lair or Kraid's or Ridley's Lair. This is so awesome. So definitely cool, and I love that we have all these distinctive styles that we can run these. We're going to exit here. And the last subset of games that we're going to be able to run are already set up here. So I'm going to go to those right now. Again, this reminds me so much of playing Monster Rancher, where we put in the CD and be able to have a monster created. That was so awesome. So low content start directory, and we're going to play the full CD soundtracks for some of these games, which James Woodcock worked on. And I reached out to him to be able to have permission to share these with you guys and gals. Hopefully he'll get back to me on this. But we're going to do Beneath the Still Sky, and this is going to be the fourth different way that we've run this thus far. It's going to sound like a full orchestral arrangement. This is incredible. Let's check it out. That is so awesome. Now we know we can't go through the door, we can't go downstairs, but we're going to explore for what else we can do here. We can go to this rung over here. This is absolutely beautiful. Great, great job, James Woodcock. You've thoroughly impressed me with your work on this one. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go down the stairs, but I'm going to go to the door again. I'm thinking maybe I can do something with the door now.
Shut tight.
Okay, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, you can actually go up and you have inventory here. I have a circuit board and a metal bar, which would be what I consider a crowbar. I'm going to use it on the door. Just like games like Shadowgate and Maniac Mansion, you explore your surroundings and adapt to them accordingly. This music is just so tremendously amazing here. I love playing it all 4 different ways with the Broke harpsichord style, default, or the MT-32 pseudo swap out with a nice orchestral arrangement, the NES Chiptune Style, and finally this full orchestral arrangement. It is more than a one-man band, so to speak. And many of these ScummVM games have humor. I mean, just check it out what happens there when the door closes. Awesome. But definitely check it out. It'll be in a release. You can play it 4 different ways. We're going to exit right now. And there are other games that have incredible updated full CD soundtracks as well as the NES Chiptune Style. Let's see what else we have in my directory there. We have Monkey Island 2, Simon the Sorcerer 1. We have this game here. We'll do the Fifth Musketeer Touche real quick, and we'll do the default version with the NES sound set. Again, beautiful artwork. US Goat is usually a company that would be like Al Janet and kind of make me step back because they did such a terrible job with Strider 2 on the Genesis. And I still play the game, but it definitely doesn't hold up a candle to the other Strider games, like Strider 2 Arcade, Strider 1 Arcade, and so on. Strider 2 Returns is so much different on the Sega Genesis, the US Goat version. But yes, we got NES style music going on here. Very, very cool. And by the way, check it out with the MT-32 style as well. It sounds awesome both ways.
So this is Roland. This is where my adventure begins. What challenges are...
Sounds so much like NES right now.
What are you going on about out there?
Okay, we're gonna load up the full CD soundtrack that James Woodcock worked on next. He did 6 games in total. So I'll go through a few of these real quick. I'm definitely going to have to go back and load up Dragon's Lair because that is a beautiful, beautiful game that never gets old. It is a beautiful algorithm. It's such a complicated algorithm for the time and genius in nature, the way that all the animation sequences are connected. It is so awesome. But we're going to do Touche right here, if that's how it's pronounced. And we're doing the full CD soundtrack. And by the way, you get the CD soundtrack, and you can convert it to MP3 and simply copy it into the directory, and it'll run by default. I'm going to try to share these with my release if it gives me permission to. But I'll have these set up for you so you can run them. You simply just drop them and lock and load it into your directory. But right now we're going to load up the incredible full CD soundtrack version that James Woodcock worked on. It is a step up in nature to the default soundtrack. And this is just because of how the percussion and such plays out in the synthesizer sound sets. Let's hear the intro here. And there's no compromise in the original soundtracks. I mean, they're all phenomenally awesome, but I love that we have a variety of ways to display these on our mini classics. Truly goes from sounding NES chiptune to sounding incidental style, like Bugs Bunny having somebody sneak out like the monster George and such. That sounds awesome.
This is where my adventure begins. What challenges await me? What glory?
I believe they, I wonder if they ever did like a Princess Bride point and click game, because it kind of reminds me of that style.
Does this repeat to the Cathedral of Notre Dame?
There comes that saxophone. They even have a saxophone in there. That is awesome. And we know who the best saxophone player is, the former Bruce Springsteen saxophone player. Nobody touches him saxophone-wise. Not even Kenny G. So we're going to move on to another game here. And I saw Bruce Springsteen in concert a couple years ago, and many people usually put on like 45 minutes to an hour set, but Bruce Springsteen literally put on a 3.5-hour show. I don't see many people having that much stamina, and he had nary a break in between. It was pretty impressive. I believe he's in his 60s to early 70s at this point. Might be 68 years old now. But we're going to load up Inherit the Earth. We're going to do NES style right now. And this is interesting for those of you who get the What Does the Fox Say song. It kind of plays into this as a little joke or a meme in such fashion. But we're doing the NES style music real quick. Again, try all these with the MT-32 as well, because like Monster Rancher for PlayStation 1, you're going to have multitude, over 1,000 different ways to run all these games. If you're talking about the original NES, and of course the MT-32, and some of these Subdivision full CD soundtracks. So here we go, NES style here, and what does the mother effing fox say? I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. I can't even say that. So we got some cool NES style music going on here. Very, very cool. Now we're going to see how that exponentially changes into a full CD soundtrack. I don't want to show too much of some of these games because I want you guys and gals to be able to experience these on your own. But you're going to see a tremendous difference on this one. And I'm going to do a few other bonus games because you have to see some other bonus games that I'm into. We're going to do the full CD soundtrack one for Inherit the Earth right now. The other examples I'm going to let you experience on your own. I'm going to maybe showcase those in another video. But again, Nava did some samples for 4 games, and you're going to be able to check those out. They'll be in a release. You can play them with any MP3 player, or you can even run them via the Mini Classic, which I'll show you after I do this example real quick. Because yes, you can play MP3s with the FF MPEG core. But here's the full CD soundtrack. Awesome. Tremendous difference. Very, very cool. We need this type of thing for Defender of the Crown. That Ultra Games company. Reminds me of the part where they're dancing in the movie Willow before they go out to take on the bad guys. Okay, now we're going to go to where the samples would be, and I'll show you the 4 samples that Nava put together real quick. So I'm going to go to Low Content, Start Directory, Dummy, to my ScummVM folder, and I have 4 samples which show the different sound sets. And right here, he did it for Beneath the Sky. It shows the default MT-32, James Woodcock in NES style, Discworld, Indiana Jones, and Monkey Island 2. We'll do Monkey Island 2 for a brief moment here. And it's going to load up that sound set. And I'm running this with the FF Impact Core, by the way. You can run Metallica on here, Slayer, Megadeth, Pantera. Yes, you can enjoy your music. Too bad we don't have an equalizer or a little screensaver thing going on in the background. But that's the default music right now. And I can tap right to fast forward if I want to. There we go. We're going to the next section. And you can see the difference here. This is more MT-32 style. Big, big difference. I'll go a little bit further in. Here we go. We got our percussion. Awesome. That's the MT-32 style. Again, we don't have the prominent or resonant percussion in the default sound. But here it sounds like true drumming. It's awesome. Okay, now we're going to load another game. We're going to load up the original Dragon's Lair, and the best way to run this, you can run it via the Daphne core, or you can even run the Sega CD version, but the version I like the best is the PSP version, simply Dragon's Lair here. And the way it plays is, it is a bunch of animated sequences which are connected by algorithms, and you're able to jump, do attack, and move in 4 multi-directions. It is awesome at the time, and games like God of War, with their context-sensitive button pressing scenarios, have taken a cue from this original 1983 classic. And I have to say, out of all the games that I've ever repurchased, I have this on DVD, PS3, PS4, and I even have it on my other format, sorry. And the NES version is atrocious. But here we can play it, or we can even do watch game. I mean, I'll try playing it briefly. We'll do arcade mode. And again, you push the attack button at the right location, jump, push your multi directions. And I have 5 lives there. Let's see if I can remember this. I know I have to attack to start with here. See if I can remember which is the attack button. Okay, I did attack, then push up. I get past the first sequence there. Oh, great. And it is random. You don't always know where you're going to go. There we go, I failed. And I love that it's randomly algorithm here. I went to another subsection here. I push right, left. I didn't dodge in time. That is awesome. The other thing you can do is you can actually exit. And I wouldn't recommend doing this, but you can actually watch the entire game. And you can do this with Space Ace and Dragons that are on the DVD releases. And there's this old arcade show that I used to watch when I was younger. It used to be on Nickelodeon, where it actually had people competing in games like Dragon's Lair. And it has episodes of that on the actual DVD releases, along with some bonus features. But this is the actual game, and you could watch the entirety of it. Like the first part I did, where I attacked, then I pushed up, bam, and I'm going to the next section here. And it's never the same game twice. It can always be randomized with the genius algorithms. Here I remember I'd have to push right. Dang, you saw a little flash on the screen there. I'd attack, jump to the right. I don't want to show you too much of this, but Don Bluth did this great movie called Titan AA, which is a great sci-fi movie, and it was one of his last ones that actually bankrupted his studio, because at the time, Toy Story and Pixar movies in general completely destroyed the concept of 2D animation at the time. I mean, it's still very, very strong with TV, like with Gravity Falls and such, but obviously, nowadays, everyone wants computer-generated stuff. I would love them to go back to this original style, like Don Bluth also did Secret of the NIM and stuff like that. And even Final Goes West. But we're going to load up another very, very interesting game right now, because I had the original Dragon's Lair port of this arcade version, which I just showed you, on the Atom computer for the Coleco. And I'm going to show you that right now. I have it in my play history here. This is the Dragon's Lair Atom computer version. And I'm actually running the Atom computer version of this right now, which I've wanted to emulate for years. I'm so happy to be able to run this. This is awesome. I wanted it on Commodore 64 initially. Even a school friend made a copy of this specific game on Commodore 64 floppy disk for me, but I got an Atom computer instead for Christmas. But luckily they ported this to the cassette tape format for the Atom computer, and I enjoyed this in Buck Rogers and other games. Well, we're going to try this out right now. We have an attack, a jump button, and up, down, left, and right. This is a very, very grueling and very difficult game. You think the God of War context presses are difficult? This is definitely more difficult. If I would have waited on that walkway too long, it would have crashed down on me. And the nice thing about this is that it gives you a nice little bit of a handicap where you can actually die twice in each area before it pushes you to the next area. So if I get better at this area and pass it, but I die in the next area, it's going to push me to the third area. I love all the versions of Dragon's Lair, even in the NES version. I still love that version because I'm a big Dragon's Lair fan. I like the cartoon series as well. See if I can make it off this walkway there. It's been a while. I failed there, but I got one more chance. You just have to have very, very precise timing. This is by far my favorite port of the game for the home console. Should we, say Atom Computer, should we say? Okay, let's see if I can make the walkway this time. And I've beaten this game like hundreds of times when I owned this years ago. And I've been trying to emulate this for years. I'm so glad to be able to finally get this emulated in the last year. I give personal thanks to Barbie Dreadmon, who works for Final Born Alpha, Green Chili, who helped out with some of the coding changes, and of course anybody with the Final Born Alpha or the Atom Computer developers to begin with over the years. I failed the second time around. You just have to be at the very tail edge of that platform and jump up there. I'm also going to do a tutorial on how to run these in some other games. Speaking of Atom Computer, I had a ColecoVision add-on peripheral where I was able to actually play Atari 2600 as well as ColecoVision games, and it was awesome, like River Raid, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and so on. And the Donkey Kong and Pac-Man games, they were so much better than the Atari 2600 pitiful versions. Okay, let's get this. Jump, attack, I remember this. Attack, jump, attack. Kind of like God of War. Jump. Oh, am I going to make it? Let's see. Whoa. I failed there, but we'll be to the next section. Maybe. Okay. I remember this part being pretty difficult too. Bam! Well, we're actually going to load up, speaking of Pac-Man here, this is a nice Pac-Man mashup with Metal Gear hack that's going to be able to run this well, and I'll do a tutorial on how to run this. But if you like Metal Gear, you like Pac-Man, combine them both together, and it is a very, very cool thing indeed. Called Cold Blood. And it has some nifty power-ups you're going to see for yourself as well. Pac-Boss. This is Pac-Boss. Very, very cool. Again, I'm going to do a tutorial on how to run this because this is a very, very fun Pac-Man game indeed. Especially for you Metal Gear fanatics. Let's check out some of this awesomeness there. And we get different kind of power-ups, like we have a, oh, that confuddled me where I'm moving in a weird direction there, like I'm drunk Pac-Man. That was the power-up, it made me drunk. It should be phased out. See, I was dizzy for 5 seconds there. I'm going to call it drunk Pac-Man, though. I have camouflage mode here. Very cool. Let's try one of the other power-ups here. See if I can get past this section. So we got drunk Pac-Man. I'm going to go to the next section here. See what power-up we can get here real quick. I can freeze the enemies for 20 seconds. Cool. And we also have items we can utilize as well. I'm going to get to some of the items here. And I love the original Pac-Man cartoon series as well. That was awesome. Here's a power-up right here. Card box. So I can actually do the Metal Gear, hiding in the box, and keep away from the ghost if I want to. How awesome is that? Doesn't get cooler than that. I even have a speed Pac-Man where I can run fast for the stages as well. And look, we have a little bit of a puzzle here. I don't know how to get to the yellow blockade there, but I can figure it out by going to another section. Again, this is called Cold Blood. It is a beautiful, beautiful hack with a basis mashup of Pac-Man and Metal Gear. Let's try going to the right here. No! I'll go the other way. Okay. Awesome, awesome game, though, called Cold Blood. I love this in Dragon's Lair. But we're going to do one final game here, because one of my other favorite point-and-click games is actually on the TurboGrafx CD. And I was a little bit thoroughly disappointed that it didn't make it onto the Final Cut for the TurboGrafx CD Mini, or should we say TurboGrafx 16 Mini. But right here is called Beyond Shadowgate. Beautiful, beautiful game. And Retro Genesis did the artwork for this. Beautiful thing indeed. This is in my release set. But we're going to run this right now with the PC Menefin Fast core. Right here. Beto PCE Fast. And you are going to need BIOS for this. You can install these with the Master BIOS module on the NES or SNES Classic. You need at least the System Card 3, or you can copy it to Redux System on your PlayStation Classic. If you go into, right here, Redux Settings, Information, Core Information on any core that utilizes BIOS, you can actually see whether or not they are present or required. The Game Express ones are used for the adult games. System Card 3 is really the only one you're going to primarily use. You'd use System Card 1 and 2 for some of the other ones that are stubborn. But here it says they're all present. And you can do a kind of a BIOS mod audit on about any core to make sure they are present. And you can also ask me or the cat how to get these installed and accounted for. But we're going to run this right now. Beautiful, beautiful game indeed. And like, we're not worried about the backup RAM right now. I'm going to reset. Like Dragon's Lair, Trial and Error, you could die at the heartbeat here. And it has a full, beautiful CD soundtrack to boot here. Love this. And Icom Simulations is behind this. They did a tremendous job on many PC games. Loving this. Let's check it out and see what we have to go with here. Remember, the TurboGrafx 16 only had 2 primary buttons. Of course, the run button, and then you had the B and A. Or should we say 1 and 2 numeral on their system. So I find myself trapped in the room, and I have to figure out how to get out of here. Very, very cool music. I cannot go through the door. Door's locked. The key might help. Keys to open doors like in Gauntlet. I can push the, I have an attack button there. I can push the start button to save, load, and all that stuff, adjust music and sound. I can push the select button to look at stuff, ask questions and stuff, touch stuff. Let's try touching the thing here. And I have a match. And I can actually light this on fire. And let's see what happens after it lights on fire. The guard comes in. Let's try to get away from the guard. Bam! He killed me. Maybe we don't want that to happen. Because we get a little beautiful animation here where I have to go up to the guillotine. So Dragon's Lair style, you can die in many, many different creative ways. I love the original Shadowgate, which is like this, Beyond Shadowgate, and even Shadowgate 64 on the Nintendo 64. I love all 3 games. We're going to try that again, and we're going to try to get past that part. So we know we got to burn the pile here with our match. Go into our inventory. Okay. I have a punch button here. Let's knock that guy out. There we go. Now we can pick up the key. I gotta remember to push the select button here. We got the key. And we have a bucket we can pick up too. Guess we'll pick up the bucket. You push select to switch between these different commands. It's making like a Dan and Jane from the Super Friends or Wonder Twins. Wonder Twins activate. We're going to use the key on the door. Okay, we're going through the door and see what's in the next section here. See what other kind of fun deaths are awaiting us. We do have our punch button, so we can try to take out some more guards. Cool. Looks like a little familiar spell is taking out some enemies there. And I absolutely love that this is on TurboGrafx CD. I would have loved seeing this on PlayStation 1, but unless we still had it on the TurboGrafx CD, and it makes it very, very special because this was on no other system. This is unique and exclusive to the TurboGrafx CD. I'm glad they released it in USA and not only Japan only. I love the sound effect when you punch. That is awesome. It's like Steven Seagal punch style. You ever notice Steven Seagal never ever gets hurt in any of his movies? He's always invulnerable like Superman. Okay, we got a key. It should be able to get us to this door as well. Wonder Twins activate. We have another guard. See if I can punch him. Yep. Looks like I have to do something a little bit different there, or parry an attack. And we got that Grim Reaper. And that note, I'm going to end the video and hope you guys and gals enjoyed the video. The update will go out on Tuesday. Definitely check out Beyond Shadowgate, Dragon's Lair, and I'll try to help you guys and gals run the Pac-Man Cold Blood game on Final Burn Alpha. Anything else you want to run, let me know.